All right, everybody. Very good morning to everybody here and a very warm welcome to today's webinar. I see we've got a packed house here with some international visitors as well, so very welcome to everybody here. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Justin. I am the product manager here at SigmaNEST, MECAD Manufacturing. And today we will be talking about SigmaNEST Shop Floor Suite. You know, a powerful set of tools built to connect every corner of your production environment from the moment material walks through your door right through to the final shipment leaving your facility. So whether you are a fabricator, a shop floor operator, or a production manager, this session has been designed specifically for you in mind. So if you can please stay till the end, I would appreciate that. We've got a packed session, as I mentioned, so let's get straight into it. To set the stage, let me quickly give you an overview of what we'll be covering today. Before I do, please have a look out in the chat section. There will be a poll that pops up. If you can make your selection there, I would appreciate it a lot. Now, but yeah, for today's session, let's start with the actual challenge that we're trying to resolve here for you guys. And I think many of you would recognize this immediately. And that is the fact that there's a disconnect between your office and your shop floor. You know, all the manual processes, the paperwork, parts that go missing, and all the rework that basically just eats into your profit margins. The SigmaNEST Shop Floor Suite can be the solution to those challenges. It's a fully integrated ecosystem, a closed-loop system. We will touch on some key modules involved today: Sigma Receive, Shop Floor Data Capture, Shop Manager, and many more. And, you know, importantly, by the time we wrap up today's webinar, I believe you will walk away with practical knowledge, real insights into how to gain visibility into your shop floor, how to reduce waste, and ultimately, how to build a more data-driven operation. If your shop is running today without a connected system, you are likely dealing with one or more of the issues I mentioned earlier. What's missing on the floor? You know, operators unsure of the job status, the stock counts that you do on weekends does not match reality, or the rework that could have been caught earlier if someone just had the right information at the right time. These are not just operational headaches, they have a direct impact on your bottom line and the ability to deliver on time. The Shop Floor Suite addresses all of this. It gives you real-time visibility into every operation in your shop floor. It digitizes your inventory, so you always know what you have and where it is. Track secondary operations like bending, welding, painting, not just cutting. And it builds into accountability. So when something goes wrong, you know exactly where, why, and how to prevent it from happening again. Clear trails. This is exactly what a modern connected fabrication shop looks like. With that being said, the time has come for us to quickly have a look at SigmaNEST Shop Floor Suite in action. I'm going to hand over to Jan-Luc now. He's our senior application engineer, and he will be walking you through a technical demonstration of the full suite. So guys, if you have any questions, please use the chat section on the right-hand side. Pop your questions in there. I've got my team joined as well, and they will respond to those questions as they come in. Without further ado, Luke, over to you.
Thank you, Justin, for the introduction. Everybody is used to SigmaNEST and its functionalities, but today we'll be showcasing some of the Sigma Suite products and how they can facilitate a more connected, integrated, and informed shop. With that said, we've created a job, received an order for manufacturing, which means we'll need to source some material in order to process.
We're going to start an MRP where I've created a purchase order and I've sent it out to my supplier. It's going to be Justin. So when I want to receive this, all I have to do is open up my web browser, go to Shop Manager, sign in with the credentials for my stores, and I'll be able to hit receive. Here I'll see my purchase order number. I can generate the GRN for this. And then I can process the parts. We can do partial deliveries as well, so I can say 20 on here, and we'll only create a note for 20 of them, leaving the 10 behind. For now, I'm just going to do the full delivery. So if I process this, I can then provide my supplier number, which is usually coming from my supplier, and then delivery note number also coming from my supplier. If I say next, I'll be able to see the GRN that has been created. And if I say save on this, we'll see that my MRP status will go from sent out to goods received. This then means that I have received this, and I can view that physical GRN by clicking on the GRNs, and I can see this. I can print it from this view. My apologies, it's just stuck with the other screen. Or I can print it from Shop Manager as well. Now that this has been received, it isn't booked into my stock yet, so I won't be able to see any batches that have been booked in. To do that, I'll click on Book In, either there, or if it's on the job that I just received, I can click on Book In over here. So on the Book-In page, I can select items. So I'll just create a couple of delivery notes, or sorry, book the batches into actual stock just by giving it a warehouse to know where it's going to lie. And then the only thing that's going to change is if I book in the SigmaNEST sheet, it's going to ask me for a heat number, which is going to be this one. So once all these GRNs have been created and I have booked in all the batches, I'll be able to see them in MRP as well after refreshing. So there's all my batches that have been booked in. All of this can also be viewed in DataHub. If I leave this page, I go into DataHub. I can see all my jobs. I can see all my work orders. You can see item masters. And we'll come back to the production once we've had some jobs put through. But we'll be able to see the jobs and then also the individual items on those jobs if I click on the job number. So there we see my individual items. I'll also be able to see deliveries or GRNs that have been created. So let's click on GRN since we just created one. And we'll be able to see all that in our front end. DataHub is a great overview for managers who need to keep their finger on the pulse without needing a specific license to intervene. This is just for viewing purposes, so they can delegate to the correct people. Now with a DataHub being created and everything being booked in, we can start our nestings. I've already done this for the sake of time. So I've done my nesting, I've created my remnant, and I have posted this out to the machine, as we can see with this little number at the bottom. Now I've done this for SigmaNEST, I've done this for SigmaTube, and I've also done this for cut to length. So all of these programs have already been nested and posted out to my machine. However, I will not be able to view them at my machine currently. So if I go into color offload I'll do on the web application or on the physical application, whereas tube I'll do on this application, and the same thing goes for cut to length. So we won't see any programs on here. The reason for that being is I don't have them allocated to a specific time slot on Load Manager yet. So this is going to be something your production manager is going to do to make sure that everything is cut in the correct order or the way that they need it to be processed. So if I refresh all this, see that these are the only 4 programs. So one thing we can do is we can highlight all of them, right click and say assign. That's going to assign them automatically on the most opportune spots for every single part or every single machine. But what I can do is if I want to maybe process something on this that I don't need to process on that one, I can just drag and drop and change them. Now we'll see there's a little gap there I can just hit resolve and it'll automatically bring it up to current time right now. Now, with all these programs being scheduled on Load Manager, I'll be able to view them on CTL feedback. So on CTL feedback, I'll start this program, stop it, finish, and update. So what that's going to do is it's going to remove it from Load Manager altogether. As soon as I refresh, it's going to remove it from that slot. If I resolve again, it'll bring that one forward. Now, your production manager will also be able to see once this has been started. So let's, for instance, start this one, and we'll be able to go onto Load Manager. If we hit refresh, we'll see that there's a green hue on this card now, which means it is currently being cut. And the same thing goes for if I stop this. So if I stop it, I'll be able to see that it has been stopped by it changing red. Finishing and updating it removes it from my list altogether. Perfect. So my cutting length should be done now. If I hit refresh, all of them are done. Now the same thing goes for tube feedback, and I'm going to go through this a little bit quicker because it is essentially the exact same thing. It's just using a different setup. Okay, it's been removed. And on Load Manager, it's been removed as well from my Mazak. And the thing for color offload goes more or less the same. So if I say refresh on here, I'll be able to see my cutting program ready for production. Now I can start this, stop this, and then finish this the same way as we can with the others. However, color offload gives us a little bit more functionality. For one, we can see the remnant that's going to go back into stock by clicking this highlight remnant tick box. It can also reject certain parts. So let's say this part has got a problem in its cutting. If I click on it, it's going to have this hatched feature over it, and then I can give it a reason. Now we can have a couple of different reasons on here, and they are customizable. So damaged in cutting process. For the sake of time, I'm not going to scrap any parts, just so we can go through this in a bit of a simplified manner. What you can also do in color offload is group or color by certain features. So right now it's on color on part name, which shows every part in a different color. I can also have it by customer to see what part goes to which customer, and then I can also have it by next operation, which will tell me that this part has got a next operation of bending. So know that all the green parts are going to have bending after this. That needs to go on a separate tray if they are going to be moved to the correct bay. So with that stopped, started, finished, and updated, it'll push that data through to SigmaNEST as well. So if I open up my MRP and I go into jobs, on job number 6, which is my tube parts that I cut, this has been completely updated and it is set to finished. If I view timesheets, I can see that there's my stop start and the stores received. And I can do the exact same thing for any of the others. So there's my job number 2, which has got a cut to length part. It's got some SigmaNEST parts and tube parts that I haven't started yet. Now, this green means that it is scheduled. It is currently available for cutting. The blue means that it is absolutely finished. Every single process on this has been completed. And then yellow means that it has most likely started, stopped, finished, but there is a secondary operation, as we can see indicated by this little gear. Now, the little gears is a little bit of a confusing thing because it will show them on cut to length parts and tube parts as well, but these are just applicable as secondary operations on SigmaNEST parts. So to handle those secondary operation parts, we'll go ahead and open up SFDC. So if I go on shop floor data capture, I'll be able to see my parts that require bending. So I'm just going to select all of these. We can do them individually. So I can say these two or just that one. But just for the sake of ease, let's do all of them at once. So what that's going to do is it's going to bring up this little window. Same thing as with tube and with cutting length feedback. It's going to give us a little start button as soon as we're happy with the amount of time that has been processed, or as soon as I'm done with the actual parts. If I'm working on the actual press, I'll click pause, finish, and then I can select where this goes after the bending process. So let's say I want to send it to stores AA1. I can then select that off the list. The list will be pre-populated. And then I can say the quantity has been completed. Now I can go and say individual quantities, or I can just say set remaining quantity, which will be every single part that has been set to this. If I finish this, it'll remove all of them from my secondary operation list. Now, bear in mind, if there was a third operation after bending, it would then show up as available on here for me as well. So we should see this now going from yellow to blue as soon as we've done that on shop floor data capture. And we'll also be able to see on timesheets that this has been completed and the amount of time that has been used. So we can have an estimated time and an actual time. And thereby we can draw some conclusions on, are we overcompensating for cutting speeds, or are we overcompensating or undercompensating for the amount of time that we need to allocate for bending, and then adjust our formulas accordingly. So with these being done and this one not being done, I will not be able to deliver this part or this job. However, I did create a job and I did put it all the way through to finish, which is going to be this one. And we're going to deliver this via Shop Manager as well. So if I use Shop Manager and I click on shipping, I'll see all my jobs that are ready for delivery, which is going to be my the blue ones, the ones that have a finished status on them. So I can select either of these jobs. Let's say create a delivery note. I can select all the parts, and then I can generate my delivery note for them. With this delivery note being created, I'll be able to see that status change in MRP as well to delivery. And then that means that the guys in the office know that they have the ability to create an invoice, which we can then do from here. So if I generate the invoice, I'll be able to export this to my accounting software as well. There's another tab at the back here, which I don't have active right now, called Account Sync, which allows you to send this out to certain invoicing platforms, which we have integration built for already. Now, this job is essentially completed and done, and we can view all the information that we need to for this job right on here. So I can go and view the invoices and credits. If I want to create a credit note, I'll just go into invoices again and make a new credit note. Delivery notes I can view in here. I can see the allocated batches, so I can see what stock was used, and I can see any progress made or any time sheets that was processed on this job. So that is everything from purchasing down to delivery, with everything reflecting back into MRP, and as a result of that into the SigmaNEST Jobs module for anybody to view at any time, with our DataHub being a viewing tool from a manager's perspective. Now we also have a thing called Quality Manager, which is where we process NCRs and CAPAs. So on the NCRs, let's say I did reject one of those parts, I can then go and add a NCR. So I'll say part scrapped. I'll just give it the exact same description and say recut requested. I could then select the employee who was involved, the operation that it happened on, so that was on the laser, and I can indicate if it was on job 4. All right. So if I save this, it'll create that NCR, which is then viewable at any time. So let's say we find out a bit more information on this. I can go ahead and add an attachment on here by simply clicking on the little attachment button and then drawing in any file from my system. Now this is also doable from a mobile application or from a mobile device, which is just connected to the browser. So I can take a picture on my mobile device and upload that file to this NCR from my mobile. What we can then do with this NCR is, if we notice that there are multiples of them piling up for the exact same thing, so let's just make another one. Part scrapped, and so let's say we've got multiples of these piling up now. I can then go and create a corrective action. So I can create a kappa for possible laser or operator error, and then I can attach any NCRs that I may have to this, so that I have a little build-up of everything that is associated with this kappa, and then also the NCRs that it is applicable to. On the history, we'll also be able to see any logs of changes that have been made to this kappa. So let's say it has been set to closed and we find that it is operator error, we can then say corrective action, or we can find the root cause analysis on here and input the data. If we have made a mistake, we can then just change this back into closed or in progress, and that should pull through to our history once we have saved it. So there we see it's been archived by stores as soon as I saved it.
And that is how our shop floor suite connects into our connected shop solution, offering you a unique insight and live information across the workshop. For our next webinar, we'll be discussing business systems like MRP, Sigma Schedule, and SimTrans. I think if we can move along to some Q&A.
Yeah, 100%. Thanks, Luke, for that. It was a bit of a technical demonstration, but just to give you guys an overview of what each app can do. But we'll get into more details now. Thanks, Luke, for that. On the Q&A, I just want to share something that comes up, almost every time we speak to a customer after a webinar or after we've visited them. And the general question we get is, how do we get started? And, the good news is that majority of the customers, they show an interest. They would like to trial the software. So that is typically and absolutely something we can arrange for you. Another thing, Luke, that I would like to highlight is that, how Shop Manager is licensed, because it's quite different. Shop Manager is a full web application, meaning that, the team can access it from a browser within your network and then run, seamlessly across your facility. From a licensing perspective, it is on a SaaS model, which means it's a manageable subscription rather than one large initial cost. And importantly to know as well is, if you are already an existing SigmaNEST customer on, let's say, a perpetual license, you can simply just add the shop manager application onto that. You don't need to change the license structure of what you currently have. That's something I want to mention. Maybe something else as well. It's, because this whole shop manager is web-based, a single license can be used across, let's say, multiple operation stations. So, for instance, let's say if you've got 3 bending bays and a couple of, welding stations, for instance, they can operate and share licenses between them. That's what I want to mention there. But look, from your side, is there any other questions you would like to answer that you got from the chat, or a question that a customer has recently posed to you?
Well, a popular question that I get, Justin, I got it yesterday, is does one guy have to jump through all of this on the software? And simple answer is no. It is a modular software, and it is designed for a specific use at a specific station. So let's say, for instance, load manager is going to be used by your production manager, Offload is going to be used by your machine operator, and MRP and DataHub is going to be used by managers. You also have the option of using a Sigma receive by your stores, and also inventory, which allows you to direct which material goes from and to machines on the data or on the shop manager platform.
Okay.
I think let's do a couple of questions from the chat. Is it integrated? Sorry, I'm going to work from the bottom up. Is it integrated with SAP? We currently do have a customer integrated with SAP, full integration from start to finish.
Yeah.
So yes, short answer is yes. Would we touch on the production tab a little? The production tab is more or less an overview of anything that you can do on the other sides. So you can, for instance, finish an operation, complete any jobs that are outstanding, or just view the schedule that you have for them. The only thing with that is you won't be able to see any live time. So you won't be able to see when we started and stopped it. It'll just say finished in production. I see Tamsin's already answered that one. Does creating the purchase order integrate with accounting software? Yes, we do have a customer using QuickBooks that integrates with the purchasing, so they export their POs straight from Sigma MRP into QuickBooks Online.
And is that just a is that on a scheduler? Or it's an API, right? So there's an integration built.
That's straight API, so it connects automatically. It's a single button that you hit within MRP, and it posts it all to your QuickBooks.
That's the same for invoicing, right, Luke? Because you mentioned
same for invoicing.
Purchasing.
Yes,
okay.
Same for invoicing. The as asked by Vanner earlier, it was the SAP integration doesn't require that. It is sort of bespoke built, so it reads and writes automatically depending on the stages that we are in. See another question on here.
Yeah, let's go for it.
Can you use the same license by multiple people at the same time? At the same time, no, but you can use it at multiple stations. So if you have the good thing about Shop Manager is it is actually dirt cheap. So you'll be able to use it at multiple stations. However, they will not be able to use it concurrently. So you'll have to sign out from one user in order to use it at another. But
yeah. Let me maybe just add on to that. So if you sign into Shop Manager as a user, let's say, for instance, bending bay 1, you can start your bending process for this particular product, right? And then you can sign out. So it still recorded your start instance in the backend, records your time when you started all of that. And then someone else can log into the same application and basically just start his application. And once done, you can come back and then log back in. Your operation will be there, which is under your name, and you can then finish and update yours accordingly. So you can go in and out of it. So it makes it quite flexible.
Thank you. If there's any other questions, please post them in the chat, and we can run through them for you.
Yeah, let's give a few seconds to see if there's any more questions. But there's a QR code on the screen there. If you scan that with your phone, we'll just direct you to our website. You're more than welcome just to reach out to us there, or just respond to my email, and we can connect.
Of course, I see Emil has mentioned there that we integrate with Xero and other software as well. We also have the option of CSV export, which is a bit old school, but it still works for some customers. So we do have the option of exporting CSVs and importing them into specific accounting softwares as well.
Yeah, I don't see this as a question in the chat, but something that I also get is, a lot of our customers and people looking into acquiring the Sigma suite, they are set, I don't want to say set in their ways, but they've got their own business structure, their workflows. And it's an existing company, of course. So the way they manage their sales meetings, their production meetings, they've got a set framework. So normally what we do is we build bespoke dashboards and reporting for them. Luke, do you just want to maybe touch on something like that? I think it's a valuable question.
Yeah, so we've built work in progress dashboards, which shows a lot of what happens on your production tab as a standalone dashboard, not necessarily for you to interact with, but for you to view, which doesn't require you to have an MRP license per se for somebody just needing oversight or overview on it. We also have sales dashboards that we've built that show you, KPIs, hit ratios, all of those in order to sort of facilitate your view on what you need to give reckoning for on sales meetings when they do happen. I see another question here. Can you build in quality checks in the process? Yes. So we'll just build a operation on there, which is going to be handled the exact same way as our bending or drilling. So you can just have a quality check on there, and then we could just process it in the exact same manner. We also have templates, so you can set up templates for specific operations. So you can have bending and then quality check, rolling quality checks, so you can build them up in the way that you need them.
That's the entire routing, right?
Yeah, you can build up the entire route card for that. How does revision control work? So every part in SigmaNEST has a revision, and we also have an option of viewing the documents and copy, which will show you any past jobs that have been created and what part was used on that revision. So every part will have a part name, and then if it has had a change made to it, you can add a revision for it, and then you will have both the parts on your system. However, the one will only be the one that was used. Question that I also get quite often is on the scheduling side. So let's say for Load Manager, is there anything that sort of automates that? Yes, we do have a software, and I alluded to it a bit earlier, which is called Sigma Schedule, which handles all of that scheduling and time allocations for your operations and for your primary operations, so your secondary operations and primary operations, sort of aligning them to whatever method you use. So there's a just-in-time,
right?
Yeah, there's a just-in-time method where it sort of pushes every job to the latest it can be cut for it to make its delivery deadline, and then there's also, whenever it fits in sort of method. And that does happen automatically. Yes, Justin. Emil asked, would I recommend a phased approach or ripping off the Band-Aid to implement a system like this? For the most part, I'd go with ripping off the Band-Aid. It's easier to get everybody aligned if, there are actual stakes involved. Phased approach we do as well, but
it all depends, right, on the customer, the solution, and where the customer is at and what are we trying to solve. So yeah, we are flexible, but we found, throughout the past couple of years that it's a business change. So whether we do it in phases or whether we do it all in once, it's a business change. So sometimes it's better.
Let's say part on one was cut, but then when welding them together, they get a unique ID. Can you track that through the process? So for that, I think we'll do a assembly on that part instead, which is something that I didn't show on this demo. So you can build assemblies, and then you can have the operation sort of linking these two parts together. But yes, you'll be able to track that through as well.
Yeah, assemblies is very powerful. As you mentioned, Luke, is something that we will discuss in the next webinar. But yeah, that's quite a powerful tool that we can do, quoting on assemblies and running the entire job through all its phases, subcontracting them out, receiving them back, etc., all the way out on an assembly type product. Any last questions, Luke?
Yeah, I see from Mark De Silva. On the financial side, do you have your own general ledger, etc., or integrate to other ERP systems? So we do integrate to other ERP systems.
Good question.
Yeah, we also have the viewing of invoices, but we don't do. We are not an ERP system. We are a manufacturing resource planner, so we tend to leave that to the ERP systems.
100%. And just on that topic, SigmaNEST and SigmaSuite, for that matter, is all SQL based. So the tables are accessible there. So everything that you basically do throughout the system, doesn't matter what function or where in the suite, is being recorded in the database, and that can be pulled through to measure profit margins, all of that, anything.
Of course.
But yeah, we can help you set that.
That's what we use to build up our dashboards as well, is anything that's on the database can be read and can be viewed. See, Emil's got another question. Most people associate SigmaNEST and additional modules only with sheet metal. Will this system be beneficial for full fabrication shops? Yes. So on there, we saw that it had a chew part and then also a cut to length part, which is essentially your square bars and your sundries that you use for that. And it also allows you to book in item masters, so that'll be your bolts, nuts, anything that you use to build an actual job. So it's not just for fabrication shops, it's for full manufacturing plants as well. I think that's going to be all the questions that are coming through. I don't see any more popping up. We'll reach out to anybody who's got any bit more of a technical question. I did see one earlier with regards to the production tab. So we'll reach out to you and sort of schedule a meeting to discuss them a bit more in detail in order to give you the best information that we can.
Thanks, Luke, and thank you to everybody. Again, the QR code is there and my contact details. Please reach out. Let's schedule a site visit or Teams meeting to see how we can help you with our Sigma Suite Connected Shop solution. And we look forward to see you guys all on the next webinar. Watch out on the emails. And thank you very much for joining. Have a good day further.